Hello, and welcome to another episode of Bring Back Focus. The idea for today's episode came to me when I was reading this report published by Perplexity called How to Use AI in Your Day to Day Workflows. So, Perplexity, for those of you who don't know, is an AI search engine. It's a fantastic tool. I use it for my day to day work. This report had a lot of details about how do you incorporate different AI workflows, prompts, etc., etc. I dug into it. But what struck me was the first section. The very first section of this report is titled Reduce Distractions. And the moment I saw that heading, I paused. Then I read the first two lines. It said something like notifications, apps, emails, all this constant switching kills your ability to think clearly. Now think about it for a second. This is a hot AI startup talking about AI workflows and how do you improve your AI skills and all of those things. But it starts with reducing or eliminating distraction. And that's the most profound thing about our work. Some of the best work, some of the greatest work that you or I or anybody does, it starts by eliminating distraction. And that single section in the report was probably the most honest thing. Everything else was, of course, valuable, important. They were talking about their tool, all of that. But that first para was the most honest thing in this entire document because it describes exactly what's happening to all of us today. Our attention is gone, it's broken, hijacked, call it whatever you like. But we all know that our attention isn't what it is supposed to be. And the worst part is that we think it is normal. And that's the thing that really bothers me. We are distracted all the time. Our phones keep buzzing, WhatsApp messages, Slack keeps sending you notifications, emails keep coming to your inbox, you keep getting notifications for that. It's just our mind keeps jumping every few seconds, and nobody is immune from all of this. Like, all of us are in some sort of this distraction background zone all the time. And the thing is, the worst thing is we don't even question it anymore. Think about an average knowledge worker or think about your day to day work. You go to work, you're greeted by a barrage of emails waiting to be responded, chats, and kept you keep getting these notifications, these chats day in and day out, and your mind is just jumping from one thing to another. And that's the problem. We treat it like background noise, but it's killing our ability to think, create, and do anything meaningful. Now, let's take ourselves out of the situation for a minute here, and let's think about some other high stakes profession and how do they protect their focus. So, if you want to understand how absurd our behavior is, let's compare ourselves to these roles. So, a surgeon isn't checking Instagram mid surgery. A pilot isn't replying to text while landing or takeoff. In fact, there's literally a rule, the sterile cockpit, that bans all irrelevant talks during these period. Forget about text and notification and things like that. A chess grandmaster isn't checking his WhatsApp when he's playing. A chef during peak dinner service isn't scrolling reels. In every field where performance matter, focus is protected like oxygen. It's that important. See any athlete or see any surgeon or doctor during high intense moments, you see the level of focus that they bring to the table. But in knowledge work, the thing that really decides our career, we behave as if distraction is harmless. Now, I know it sounds weird to compare these high stakes profession with our profession, but if you really think about it, it's not that different. During our day to day, we have so many moments of those high stakes performance that we don't even realize. For example, let's say you have this investor presentation coming. The future of your company is literally dependent on how that meeting goes. Or you have this high stake client meeting. The future of your year or your commission depends on how this meeting goes. So we all have these high stake moments in our work, but we don't treat them as the same. So let's compare some of the best performers in our industry or knowledge work. Let's look at how they protected focus. So I think of this as entrepreneurs who build something meaningful and long lasting. People like Steve Jobs, Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, and so on. Let's hear from them what they had to say about focus. So Steve Jobs once said, "Focus is about saying no to 100 other good ideas." Mark Zuckerberg, "I try to block out time every day to think deeply. If I don't get that time, I get really frustrated." Elon Musk told his employees, "Excessive meetings are the blight of big companies. It is rude to waste someone's time." And Warren Buffett has a quote, "All of these people treat focus like oxygen. They treat it as their most important commodity. And that's why they've been successful. They've been so wildly successful." The truth of the matter is, you cannot do your best work ever if you're constantly distracted. It doesn't matter how smart you are. It doesn't matter how experienced you are. It doesn't even matter how much you care. If your attention is scattered, your output will always be mediocre. So so I don't want all of this. I don't mean to judge. I don't want you to judge yourself. And this episode is not meant to be for that. I think the idea is to become self-aware, because unless you're self-aware, you're not going to change anything about you. So if there's one thing that you need to take away from this episode, is that great work begins by eliminating distraction. And we are so used to distraction today that we've considered is a part of normal life. In the next episode, I'll try to get into some of the strategies to help cope up with that. And I'm not talking about extreme steps, but just some practical ways to manage our attention and distractions. And so we'll try to figure out how do we tackle this beast together. So that was this episode. The idea is our attention is broken. In the next episode, we'll talk about how do we take it back. Thank you for your time and have a wonderful week.